So there we go. That is a dead buffalo thorn. VM is being very artsy, and there we can see coming into focus a very lazy kitty cat. You can see that bulging belly, and Jamie just explained to you why we won't be staying here after dark. So with spotlights, it might attract attention to this area, and while that killer's still on the ground, we won't be doing that. So hyenas in the Sabi Sands are quite clever. There's been safaris going for so long that they've actually learnt in certain circumstances, in certain areas. I've never seen it on Djuma, but I have seen it at Londolozi, that they have learnt to always just inspect if there's a spotlight at night and there could be a potential free meal. So we'll be zoning this area, and we will not be letting anyone come here after dark, and to make sure that he has the best chance of eating more of his impala, and hopefully, when he feels the need, taking it up a tree. So what's quite fortunate, hyenas do like to walk down roads and big paths, and there are none in this particular area, so hopefully he will still have it in the morning. He looks like he's definitely got the Sunday afternoon snooze down to perfection. Beautiful big male leopard in his prime. So after a little bit of a leopard drought, we've now had leopard 3 drives in a row. Isn't that fantastic? So I know we've got quite a few new viewers, and if you guys are unsure about asking questions, you can pop me an email on questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you want to ask me any questions. There we go. You can see those bigger spots, the bigger blotches on the belly. Also see how the belly is very, very white. Oh, did he hear something? He suddenly became quite alert, but Kyle, welcome. Now, Kyle's a regular viewer. He's watching with his gran for the first time. So, hi, Granny. Oh, no, I think he's just changing position because that belly's a bit full. So, Kyle would like us to give his gran an update on this Tingana sighting. I'm just going to move forward a tiny skosh. How's that, Vim? So, well, Kyle's granny, this morning, I was tracking him for quite a long time, and then I found him on foot, but he slunk away from me, and then Taxon had a brief visual of him, but then he slunk away again, and then I jumped off, and I went walking, and actually I was almost where we are now when I saw him shoot off and grab that impala on foot, and then I had to sprint back to the vehicle, and fortunately we got back to the vehicle in time that the impala wasn't yet dead, and then we watched him drag the impala into the thicket, and then he has been snoozing and snacking a little bit on that impala all day, but he wasn't very full when he originally caught it, so a happy cat. Now I am hoping he puts it in the tree overnight to keep it away from the hyenas, otherwise he might lose it. And you can see it's a big male leopard. You can see the dewlap, that big thick layer of skin underneath his neck. A beautiful fighting. So, hi Anna. Anna would like to know, is it common for leopards to jump down from trees onto their prey? It's not that common, Anna. They do it occasionally, but it is quite a high-risk maneuver. Generally, they prefer to stalk on the ground and then burst out. So they ambush predators. So they'll generally only make that last run when they're 5 to 10 meters away from the animal that they're hunting. Look at that. He's getting a heavy head. So Vim, while he's having a little snooze, I've spotted another critter right in front of us. So we got a lovely sunset coming through there, but a little bit higher up. And we haven't seen too many of them this year because of the lack of rain. But there we go. There is a golden orb spider. Now, you can see that line of things around the spider, and those are the exoskeletons of his prey species, or her prey species. That's a big female orb. So she's eaten them, and she often leaves those exoskeletons in a line in the middle of her web. And there's a very important reason for this. It's so birds don't fly through her web. So it's visible to the birds. Now, if we look quite carefully, I'm trying to see if there are any little kleptoparasites on her web. I might just go forward a skosh. He is fast asleep, not doing anything. And we might be able to see some little dewdrop spiders on her web. Let's have a quick look. I don't want to go any further because of my aerial might catch on her web. So quite often, there we go down a bit, yeah? Look at that. There is a little kleptoparasite. Now, I will try to find you one of these guys when we're not in a leopard sighting. So that looks like a drop of quicksilver or a drop of mercury. And they're very small, and they live on the bigger spider's webs, feeding off a little bit of remnant food that she doesn't eat. And there we go, a kleptoparasite. So there's no benefit for the big orb spider to have these little guys on their webs. And like this big orb, I can see about 3 or 4 little kleptoparasites. And they are incredibly beautiful. They look like a drop of dew in the web, and hence they're named the dewdrop spider. So very, very cool. Let's get back to looking at the leopard though. He's lifted his head ever so slightly. How's that, Vim? So, Ginny in Virginia is wondering, what is the purpose of the dewlap on leopards? For those who are not sure, the dewlap is that thick layer of skin around his esophagus, around his throat. Now, it has a very similar purpose to what a male lion's... Oh, look at him trying to bite the flies. What a male lion's mane does. So when he has to fight for territory with other male leopards, that that loose skin and stuff gives him a little bit of extra protection in that very vulnerable area around his throat. Oh. So those flies that are irritating him particularly are called stable flies. So they're very small biting species of fly that look very, very similar to the common housefly, apart from the fact that they are vicious little bloodsuckers. And, oh, there we go. Oh, yawn. Now, if we look at the back of his ears, you can see there's some bald spots there, and those are bites from flies. And you see, in particularly in older animals, lion, leopard, hyena, how bad those bites get. And quite often you'll see the blood popping out of those little spots. So you'll notice that's why a lot of the predators keep flicking their ears constantly. It's to try and keep those vicious little guys off them. He'll be quite happy nighttime's coming. He'll have a respite from the biting flies. So we'll be back, but it seems like my clue was too easy and Jamie has found her Easter egg, so let's go have a look.
Well, I think he might just have given it away slightly. I didn't realize I was in the right place until Brent said that, so now I'm going to be looking very carefully. You all know where this Easter egg is. Now, if I know Brent as well as I know Brent, he's going to have hidden it above my head height and out of my reach. And I can see it. Here we go. If we look in between where that fork spreads out, there's my Easter egg, and now I have to retrieve it. And I bet you, and I don't want to move too much further forward in case we lose signal, although, by the way, that clue is a little bit false, because look at us. We're sitting in the Milwaukee drainage line on Wendy with signal. Is this not terribly exciting? Okay, right. I knew he was going to hide one too high for me. Aww. Okay, let's see how this goes. Oh. Aha, victory is mine.
Well done, Jamie.
Thanks, Dave. And the Easter egg is ours. Sorry?
Quickly to Tingana.
Oh, okay, let's go back to Tingana.
So he just got up and he had an afternoon constitutional and he's now buried his dung to try hide his scent. So he might move back to that impala carcass. And I'm going to try, see he's dragged it deeper into that thicket. So he's going to go right in front of us. And I'm going to just try reposition shortly so you guys can see him feeding on that carcass. Yeah, you got him, Vim. Go straight into that dark patch there, as there's just too many. I think a little bit to the right. Oh no, you got him there. There's just a few too many sticks in the way. I'm just going to see if we get another view. Now, if he decides to carry that carcass and put it in the tree, that means we will be able to stay here after dark. But if he continues to feed with it on the ground, we will not. There we go. Not the best, but you can see the flies that are already in there. So you can see he's moved some of the stomach out. Now, before he puts it in a tree, if he decides to, that large sort of greeny section on the left there is the stomach. He will remove that completely. It is an excess weight that he doesn't need, and he's not going to really eat. So you can see how he's opened up the cavity. He's eaten the heart and some of the liver already, all the really good bits. And look at all those flies. Now, in this hot day, that meat's probably almost already nearly turning. There we go. Actually, I can see a bit of the lungs still. There we go. Just moving it into a better position for himself to feed. Munch, munch, munch. You can see the small intestine there as well, just to the left. So another part, he might eat some of it, he might eat the lining, but he's definitely, if he wants to take it up a tree, as I said, he'll remove all those sort of parts. Quite often he will bury them or scrape sand over them, and that's just to dull the smell. Because, of course, hyenas and lions have incredible sense of smells, and they will definitely try to take advantage if they find this kill on the ground. Beautiful boy. Now, those big blue fly species that we see all around him, oh, I'm just trying to remember, I did used to know the name. I think they're called a regal blowfly. So they will lay their eggs in carcasses, and the maggots will feed off the flesh. So a lot of you may wonder why we only came to Tingana so late in the sunset, on the sunset safari. Now, the reason for this is we pretty much knew he was going to be sleeping during that really hot period from 4 to about just after 5, and he has been. So we timed our arrival to try and get a bit of movement and a bit of feeding action. So it looks like we were spot on with our movements today. So we've seen he already has quite a big belly when we found him this morning, and he's killed this big male impala. David on Twitter is wondering, how often will a cat like this feed? Well, it all depends on what he's been eating, but generally once every couple of days. But there's a lot of stuff we don't see them catching and eating, like little tortoises and monitor lizards and stuff that's eaten very quickly. So it is likely that they might feed or snack, but to have a big meal probably once every 3 to 4 days. But one must remember, leopards, lions, they're opportunists. If they have a chance to catch something like this, even with a full belly, they will. And in his case, I am hoping he stores it up in a tree. And if he leaves it on the ground, we have such a high hyena population in this area that smell will eventually waft, and it will bring them in. Now, if a single hyena came, I think there's a good chance a big male leopard like this might defend this carcass against a hyena. And again, a lot of that depends on how hungry he is. Is it worth a possible injury, or will he just leave it because he is quite full already? So another big Safari Live welcome to a brand new viewer watching for the first time, Andrew. And Andrew would like to know, does a leopard smell like a domestic cat? Not at all, Andrew. Unless your domestic cat smells like carrion. So they're quite smelly. They do eat lots of rotting carcasses. Even though they are quite cleanly and they clean themselves quite often, they're not very nice smelling animals at all. None of the big predators are. Very smelly, sort of a sort of, I'm trying to decide how to describe this best, a sort of lingering of rotten meat is the best way to describe a leopard. So it's not quite as bad as rotten meat, but the sort of lingering fragrance of rotten meat sort of permeates if you do ever get close enough to smell a leopard. Fortunately, their scent marks, when they urinate, smell quite nice. They smell like buttered popcorn. So another new viewer. Is great to have a whole bunch of new people joining us on the back of the safari vehicle. And tomorrow, oh, the flies are getting a bit irritating for him. He's trying to bite them. Shame, I think they're a bit fast for you there, big boy. Tomorrow wants to know, will a leopard remove the stomach by instinct or by learning? It is by instinct. You must remember the stomach holds no real nutritional value for them. They don't eat grass, and that's all the stomach basically is. A big bunch of undigested grass. So they will definitely then, probably because they can't eat it is why they remove it. Oh, he's getting really irritated with those flies. He might move the carcass now because of all the flies. Look at that. So he's going in for the gory bits there, Vian. I can't see. It could be kidney, could be livers. Could be a bit of the lung. I think it's liver or lung. I can't really see from here. Lung, I think. Just looks at... Oh, no, it's liver. Yum, yum, yum. So nice high iron content, so very good for a leopard. So they'll generally try eat through those internal organs at the beginning of feeding. So you can see he hasn't really fed, we can't really see it from here, but he hasn't fed much on this carcass. As I said, he was quite full when he started, so he's opened up the stomach. He maybe ate a bit of the heart. Now he's getting down to the bottom end, so kidneys will probably be next to follow once he gets through the liver. Those flies are really bugging him. So the flies that are bugging him are not the ones buzzing around the carcass, not those big blue ones. The ones that are bugging him are actually much smaller, and they're the ones that are biting his ears. Look at that. Just changed his position slightly. Just wait a second to see what he's going to do. Let's just wait a few seconds, see what he's about to do. I'm hoping he almost looks like he is thinking about dragging the carcass. Nope. He's moving away from the carcass. So Jamie's got an interesting cameo for you while we reposition.
We won't keep you away from Tingana for too long, but I just had to show you this really stunning scene that Dave and myself have encountered at Treehouse Dam. Look at those buffalo at the back having a serious sparring session. It's just so incredible in this afternoon or evening light with the dust flying. And to see so many Duggar boys together is also quite an extraordinary sight. Just look at this. It is so beautiful. And with the light like this, it's easy to imagine the water as being crystal clear. Ooh. Let's maybe go back to the ones at the back, Dave. They seem to be getting more involved in their current activities. It's getting quite rough and tumble. I'm going to be quiet for the moment just so you can enjoy the sounds of this sighting. You can hear their horns clashing, the splashing of the buffalo. Calls of the starlings. This is such a beautiful scene. I love the one that's just watching. Hilarious. I can't decide if he's watching with sort of passive tolerance or if he wants to be involved, or if perhaps, maybe even better, he's looking at them disdainfully. I always feel as though buffalo are very good at the disdainful facial expression. This is just too beautiful. I have never seen numbers of male buffalo like I have since I started working on Djuma. I mean, together in herds. It's very common to see them all off on their own. But to see them in a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is really quite extraordinary. I don't know what it is about this particular area that has them attracted. Perhaps it's the dams. Perhaps it's good feeding opportunities. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it does make for really stunning sightings like this. I think this is probably, it's not often I've described a male buffalo sighting as beautiful, but this is definitely one of them. Now, I can describe the sounds to you, or sorry, you can hear the sounds yourself, but what it doesn't come with is a way of smelling exactly what it smells like. And whilst it is a beautiful scene, it is very smelly. It smells like a farmyard right now. It's the best way I can think of describing it. Buffalo have spent their afternoon in a very peaceful, contented place. Look at them all. They've all decided that they want to scuffle a little bit. Oh, our two at the back still carrying on. This is why, while we've been tracking leopards in this area, we've been playing Dodge the Buffalo Ball. All right. Lovely sighting, but I didn't want to take you away for too much longer from Tingana. Let's head back across.
So, often people ask us if these leopards really mind being around cars and stuff. And we often say they have grown up, although he was very shy when he first came. But put it this way, he's now laid down directly. Here I am, and there's the other vehicle. He's no more than about 5 feet from me. So, and not looking perturbed at all. Now, if we look at his ears... Oh, he's up again. Oh, look at this. Isn't this incredible? There he goes, right in front of the vehicle. So he's probably going to lie up now. It is getting reasonably dark. Oh, there you go. Flop. Let's move around. And I was just looking now. I'm probably in about maybe 10 minutes, probably a little bit less. I'm going to zone this sighting. So that's going to mean no one is going to be able to come in here till tomorrow morning. Because the reason we're zoning the sighting is because this kill is still on the ground. And having spotlights and lots of movement around here could attract the hyenas. And the only reason the hyenas might come in is because of us being there, and we don't want to be the reason for that. So, oh, look at that Scotia silhouette, beautiful. It has been a particularly glorious evening. So you can see that orange, beautiful sky behind him. And I've been chatting about hyenas possibly coming in after his kill that's on the ground, and Jazz from North Carolina saying, what about vultures? I don't remember seeing them. Well, that's why he hid that kill right in a thicket, because vultures, apart from only eating his kill, and you'd have to defend it and chase the vultures constantly, also, lions and leopards watch them and will descend. Lions and hyenas watch them and will descend onto that spot if they see them dropping. So Jazz says she can't remember seeing vultures. Well, vultures you generally find on some of your bigger carcasses, such as buffalo or hippo with lions, and we do see vultures quite often. So guys, I'm the only car left here, so I've got to keep the radio on. So the sun is setting. We're not going to put any lights on him, as we've just been explaining, but there we go. Isn't that beautiful? And fingers crossed, he either puts that impala in a tree or the hyenas don't find him. Still trying to bite the flies. Don't worry, big boy. Another hour or so, there won't be any flies to bite you. You might go off for a drink. There are some pan systems around here. He's going right behind VM. So we can't move the vehicle now. But he's literally just behind VM now. There he goes. So we'll see if he goes off for a drink. We'll follow him to where he drinks, and then we will leave him there. So I think there's some pan systems not far, just down this alley where he's walking. But he might not make it all the way there before he decides to have a snooze. Yours. Fashions this Winonengwe is now mobile down towards the mud wallows on Inyala Road South. I think he's going to have a drink. After that, we'll be leaving him. Just everyone, please note that this is a closed sighting after dark. The kill is still on the ground, so we'll be zoning it. No vehicles in from now till tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. So this is quite common behavior for leopards. When they've got a kill, they'll eat quite a bit and then they'll have a little wander to the closest water hole. And in his case, he's very lucky that it's very close. Sorry, guys. Orbs, Tingana is mobile toward the mud wallows on Inyala Road South for a puza, and I've then zoned the sighting back at the Nyama. Nyama is still on the ground.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the road, and he's going to turn right, and the mud wallows are just there, so he's definitely going to have a drink. And now we're away from the kill, so that's why we're still following him. So we're not attracting any attention, and we're not stationary on that spot. So what we're going to try do is when he does get to the water hole, we'll try get opposite him so you guys can have some spectacular views of him drinking. Oh, might stop for a quick scent mark on the way. No. So we've been chatting about those stable flies that have been plaguing this poor leopard and my poor legs. Lucy is wondering, do these flies just disappear at night? Yes, they rest up at night, Lucy. They're not active in the dark, but they're, and also early morning when it's quite chilly. So I just had to listen to that. So there we go. That mud wallow is just up on the right, coming up. But Lucy, so they are diurnal fly species. You, of course, will have some nocturnal fly species, but those are not the particular individuals that are biting us, the buffaloes, leopards, lions, hyenas. So, lovely to hear from another new viewer, Kelsey Teagues. Hi, Kelsey. Kelsey would like to know why the constant heavy breathing. Well, Kelsey, that's how he dissipates heat. So we sweat, he pants. So it's to bring as much air as possible onto the capillaries in his mouth, all the blood vessels. And it cools the blood down. There's the water hole, so he's going straight to it. We're going to just shoot it around him. Very interesting. Kelsey, the new viewer, is actually Connor the Carnivore, our new tech department's sister. So she's part of the on-site WildEarth family in the extended way, and she's going to drink there behind the stick, silly leopard. He's, of course, going to drink the most. There we go. We should get a nice view from here. What do you think, Fim? How's that? There we go, isn't that stunning? So I hope you guys get some fantastic screenshots. I intend to snap a photograph or three. So we're a bit far to hear him drinking. He's just positioned himself in a funny spot. But you can see his tongue lapping away at that quite muddy water. It is sort of that classical leopard pose you see in many photographs, leaning down to enjoy a refreshing drink. And look at that reflection in the water. So hopefully if he stops drinking for a while and keeps still, we might get a perfect reflection. So Thomas, another new viewer on YouTube, says, what is the leopard population of Djuma? We seem to discuss 5 or 6 different leopards. So in terms of our resident population, Thomas, the resident population, permanent residents, let's call them that, we have this gentleman, Tingana, who is the dominant male in the area at the moment. Then we have Karula, who's the dominant female over majority of Djuma. Then we have Shadow, whose territory is mostly on Arathusa and just in the western sections of Djuma. And occasionally we get some females moving through who are mating with the dominant males. Female leopards will move out of territory to mate. And so the most recently we had Tundi, who is Shadow's sister and Karula's first daughter, with Shadow and Tundi are sisters, same litter mates. Here we go. Is he going to start drinking, or we are going to get that perfect reflection shot? No, he's moving to drink again. Oopsie. We need to... How's that for him? I think we're going to just move slightly. Or are you okay? You happy there? It's okay. Vem's happy, so I'm happy. What a wonderful way to end off this male leopard sighting, because if anyone has tuned in a little bit late, we're not going to be following him back to that carcass, because the carcass is still on the ground, and we want to give him the best opportunity not to lose it to hyenas. So we're still with him now because he's moved away from where that kill is, and he's having a wonderful quenching drink at the little mud wallow on Inyala Road South. Diana on YouTube's noticed he doesn't really blink when he's drinking. Well, he's keeping his eyes open to make sure there's no possible threat coming towards him. So you can see, even though he's drinking, he is always checking about. So you can see a leopard is an animal that prefers a bit of camouflage. So you can see even see where he's chosen to drink next to that fallen down knobthorn, offering a little bit of cover. So if a hyena happened to be walking down the road to the right, it might not spot him due to that fallen down tree there. But if a hyena came from behind him, it probably would. Oh, thirsty boy. Well, Laura on Twitter says, I've still got 2 Easter eggs to find. Well, Laura, I might forego my Easter egg hunt to sit with the male leopard while he drinks. And you can hear some of the nocturnal insects starting to make a noise. What we can hear calling that very incessant sound, oh, it stopped now. Behind us, there it starts again, is a katydid, so a species of nocturnal grasshopper. Nocturnal birds haven't quite hit their gears just yet. So while we were with him, while he was feeding on that impala carcass, I mentioned that meat after a hot day today could probably already be turning. And Don in Pittsburgh would like to know, when would it be undesirable to eat? Well, for a male leopard, it can be as rotten can be, and he wouldn't mind. I think the only time it is undesirable for him is when it's finished. Look there, look at that silhouette, guys. I mean, not silhouette, reflection. He's going back to drinking again. He's going to muddle up his beautiful reflection again. There we go, first of the nocturnal bird species in the distance. Little pearl-spotted owlet. And fiery-necked nightjar getting going as well. It's an incredibly still evening. There's almost not a breath of wind. Isn't this just complete bliss, sitting here and enjoying this big male leopard? So Charmaine and Gavin are watching, or Gavin's first time watching. So ex-South Africans who are now living in the UK and really miss the Kruger Park and the bush. And first time watching and really excited to see a leopard. Well, great to have you on board, guys. Welcome to the Safari Live family. And they said the show was recommended by their son, Calvin. So, well, thanks, Calvin. And great to know that we're able to bring a little bit of home to you guys on the Mud Island. So we're going to leave him be if he starts heading back towards that carcass. Quite often you might lie down around here for a little bit before heading back. Belly full of impala and water at the moment. He's probably feeling quite lethargic. So when he disappears, there we go. We're not going to follow him any further. And actually, he's just lying down there, a nice cool bit of sand. And he's gone down into that little riverbed. I think he's going to lie there for a bit. We'll just have one quick check. And then I think we're going to leave him be. And as I said, we've zoned that site of the kill. Any trees behind us for him? Not yet. Go to check in the morning. He might have put it in that nice big tree right there. But I think he's going to go. It's still quite hot. So I think he's going to go down and lie in the cool sand in this little riverbed. We can't even see where he's gone. Well, he's disappeared. I'm very confident let's just have one last peek over the edge here. Very confident he's just going to absorb some of that cool sand down in the riverbed. He's lying down here somewhere. No. Well, anyway, good for him. He's managed to evade us. Pretty sure he's down here somewhere. We just can't see him. He's probably behind one of these trees. So let's leave him be, and hopefully we'll find him again with that impala in the morning. And while we head off to see what else we can find, let's go see... Oh, hang on, sorry. Before we go away... so right next to where we were parked, looking at Mr. Tingana, next to this beautiful little mud walla. There he is. You got him, Vim? Oh, well, he's disappeared. There was a little bush baby there. So let's go to Jamie, who's got a magnificent view to show you guys.
On evenings like this, where you've had an afternoon where things haven't really gone according to plan, it's time to just stop and watch and enjoy the sunset. How's the sky? The distant lights of the various villages on the outskirts of our wilderness area, the Drakensberg Mountains silhouetted, and the most incredible clouds streaming across the sky. An afternoon with leopards, and now this kind of view, and a red-crested korhaan whistling in the background. So beautiful. Okay. Well, you can linger and watch the sunset for a while, but we do have other mysterious nocturnal creatures to find. Oh, one last look, just because that is spectacular. I hope you are all taking lots of screenshots of this beautiful sunset that Dave is presenting you with. I have to confess that Dave and myself stayed with those buffalo until they'd all left the dam. It was just one of the most spectacular buffalo sightings I think I've ever had, just in terms of, no, they weren't doing anything hugely interesting or hugely out of the ordinary. It was just the setting that they were in that was so extraordinary. All right. Oh. Onwards. I don't think I ever got to show you just how beautiful this Easter egg is. Unfortunately, shame, it's got a little bit smudged in the heat. But I never got to show you the one that I retrieved, and I did tell you that the final control ladies had put a great deal of time and effort into painting our Easter eggs. I just had to show you the stunning leopard spots of the Easter egg that I retrieved. Unfortunately, some of it now transferring to my fingers. Here we go. Now, apparently, Brent is on a mission to, as we come to the end of our sunset safari, he's on a mission to find the Easter egg that I thought was going to be the easiest one to find, that I hid, and somehow has proved to be vexing in the extreme. Perhaps it was clearer in my head than it actually came across. You never know. That's sort of how life works every now and again. Hello. Charlotte, that being said, Charlotte and Robin have both caught on to where I have hidden that Easter egg. They've both worked out that when I said it was a juicy fruit tree, I didn't necessarily mean it literally produces juicy fruit. I meant an apple tree, well, an apple leaf tree. And I don't know that that was, perhaps I should have a juicy fruit leaf tree. But that got a little bit clumsy and complicated. So I'm glad that we've got some people who are on the same train of thought as I am. And unlike Brent, since he made me climb a tree, I'm going to make him bend down to get it. If he's going to take advantage of his height, I'm going to take advantage of mine severe vertically challenged stature. Angel Lady has said that perhaps after our tree climbing experience, perhaps we should offer up a tree climbing challenge to James when he returns. Angel Lady, I shall think about it. I shall definitely think about it, Angel Lady. I think that's probably the first time that I've climbed a tree on camera, and that's not because I don't like climbing trees. I have climbed lots and lots of trees in my time. I just always get distracted by other things. I haven't just haven't got around to doing it. But perhaps this will be something that is embarked upon more often We shall see, though. I like to save it for special occasions. I spent my life up in the syringa tree outside my parents' house, the syringa tree or the mulberry tree, reenacting scenes from The Lion King, and quite determined that I was a leopard capable of leaping from branch to branch, and I obtained a number of injuries in those attempts. Nevertheless, I have sort of started growing out of it very sadly, as kids do. And it's been a long time since I've really enjoyed a good tree climbing experience. Where I used to work, there were the most incredible fig trees. Now, sycamore figs are something that you only really find around the more permanent river systems. So unfortunately, it's not a tree that we see on Djuma all that frequently. Sorry, little steenbokkies. I'm not going to mistake them for a serval tonight, as I did last night, and it was terribly embarrassing. But yes, there's a tree called a sycamore or a low-felt cluster fig that grows to enormous sizes and lives for hundreds of years. And I mean far larger. I've seen specimens far larger than any tree. I can promise you any tree that you've seen on Djuma. I've only seen a couple of strangler figs on Djuma itself. But these are trees that are more sort of isolated to the river systems. And they're these big lime green bark colored trees that are so atmospheric, but you can climb right up into their overarching branches and look out over river systems. The fascinating thing about fig trees, one of these incredible little relationships in nature. So there are at least 100, probably more, different species of fig within South Africa. There's rock figs, there's strangler figs, there's sycamore figs, there's different types, Natal figs, etc., etc. But they are all, each and every single individual species is pollinated by one specific individual species of wasp. They are completely mutually reliant on each other. That species of wasp needs that fruiting tree in order to propagate her eggs, she burrows into the fruit and lays her offspring in there. And while she's doing that, she'll also pollinate the surrounding flowers. That's an incredible little aspect of a relationship that is totally mutually beneficial. And in fact, they cannot do without each other. And you expand that even further, and it just goes to show how our understanding of conservation will increase the more that we know. For example, we're now truly understanding just how essential bees are to our future as human beings, since they pollinate crops. Sorry, little scrub here, I'm just not going to stop and scare you. Since they are so essential in pollinating and propagating crops that we are so reliant upon. And it's one of my biggest arguments for explaining why, not on an emotional or an ethical level, but on a practical level, why it is so important to preserve each and every species that we can. Because you just never know the knock-on effect that it's going to have in the future. What impact the loss of just one species of wasp, could have on the future population of fig trees. Oh, white-tailed mongoose. Awesome. So cool. One of the largest members of our mongoose family. There is a pair of them. Look at them dashing off. That was so exciting. We hardly ever get to see them that close. This is what I love about winter, or the start of winter. See if we can't catch up with them. Usually they are just this fleeting moment that they dash across your screen and then disappear. There you. Oh, Mike in Florida, I really hope you were watching. You asked for a white-tailed mongoose yesterday. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to provide yesterday, but we did tonight. And just like that, they have vanished into the night. But think they dashed straight away into the vegetation. That was such a special moment, even though it's very short. To have a moment like that is incredible, because you usually just see this flash of a white tail as it dashes across the road and then they're gone again. And to see two of them is also relatively not unusual, but you don't often get to see that. They are solitary creatures by nature, and it's only when they're mating or when the female has cubs or pups that she is seen in the company of other mongoose. We know of that den around Vuyatela Dam. How awesome was that? So exciting. And it just happens like that. All of a sudden, that's what's so amazing about our live drives, is that you just never know what's quite literally going to be on the other side of the road. Let's put it that way. Right, what's next on our list? We've done white-tailed mongoose. Let's get a civet, or a porcupine, or perhaps a honey badger. I'm feeling lucky. I'll try not to get a daker that's actually I thought was a serval but turned out to be a daker again. I think that embarrassment is enough for 1 week. And the exciting thing is that this is only going to get better. Our experiences with nocturnal creatures, secretive nocturnal animals, going to increase, and our sightings are going to increase as we go further and further into winter. We're so lucky to have seen them early on a night that is still quite balmy. I think most of you watching around the world, sorry Dacre, would think of this as a hot night almost. Oh, another Easter egg clue. Let's hear it. Right, I'm going to put this one to you. The clue from Brent. Under starry skies, where many a yarn has been spun. Where could that be? I'm pretty sure I've got it. I think I know. Let's see if you can figure out exactly where it is. So perhaps we shall start making our way towards quarantine clearings. That being said, considering the amount of time that we spend spinning yarns on the vehicle might be a more sensible place to suggest as an answer. We certainly do tell a number of stories, but I think that we are heading to a place that has united all presenters at one time or another. Now we've got to find this Easter egg in the dark. Now, as I race across for the last few moments to find my Easter egg, let's see if Brent has managed to find his.
So, outside, there we are, there's the lights. We just turn it off when we're not live to keep the bugs out of our hair. So we're on the eastern edge of quarantine now. And I haven't seen any weeping wattles, but I have seen a rain tree. Aha! And I've spotted the egg. What is it? There it is. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. So well done, and to Charlotte and Robin, who worked it out that it was in an apple leaf. And there we go. Do you have any idea what this is supposed to be?
Tortoise.
Maybe a tortoise, yes. And let's see if we can... There we go. So the crackly tree, you can hear the leaves make a really big crackling sound. So there we go. Well done, Charlotte and Robin, for working that one out. Now let's see what else is out and about on the quarantine clearings. So you might hear the large noise of a generator running. So we don't have any electricity or mains electricity at the moment. Now, that is because not too far from here, in the village of Hluvukani, someone was enjoying Easter Saturday evening a little bit too much and managed to park their car inside the electricity lines. So hopefully it will be fixed quickly. Now, living out in the bush, and I've lived in a lot of places in the bush where we don't have electricity or generator at all sometimes. And I do have lots of little things that help with that. Got these wonderful little solar lamps. So we'll be able to read. So our house is in the darkness tonight as we're away from the main lodge, and so we don't have a generator at our house.
Crossing Garaman, Weaversness Junction.
Oh, Aubrey's just seen a really, really big black mamba at the exact same place where Dave and I saw that really big black mamba a few days ago. So I wonder if it's the same one.
East of Weaversness, Garaman. All right.
Yeah, Orbs, I saw a very big one there 4 or 5 days ago, maybe a little bit longer.
Sure, smell cool,
Yes. Now, if Aubrey, who's been at Juma for 25 years, says, sure,
Brent?
it's makulu, that means it's really big. Standing by.
The copy left was not for Tingana, Mamba Road, crossing more west on Mamba Road. Do you know that?
Ah, copy, thanks very much. Which Mafaz do you know?
Chokohoma, the one with family, my daughter, this morning. So I left here, she walking on the road to the west.
Really interesting. How are we doing? Oh, well, we're going to have to look for her in the morning. So we've just got a message from Abel, who has just told us that a lioness has just crossed in to Juma, a single Nkuhuma lioness that was mating with a Birmingham in Torchwood this morning, but she is unfortunately just too far for us to get to tonight. But we will definitely go have a look in that area in the morning. So fingers crossed, lion and leopard on a Monday morning. Well, let's go to Jamie while she searches for her egg. There she is in the distance.
Looking at us in the distance as we drive along. You can see Brent across there. Okay, he's switched his lights off for us. Alex, Gail, James and Deanna and many, many others guessing our fireside chat. I agree. We might need our headlights again, please, Dave. Thank you. I don't want to drive over our Easter egg. You've all guessed fireside chat, as have I. Let's see if we can't find it before the end of the... Sorry, Dave. Before the end of the sunset safari. Thank you very much. All right. So, if I were Brent, where would I hide that Easter egg? I'm assuming it's at the actual fireside chat spot, and it's probably in one of our different logs that we've used as seats, which have changed throughout the years and throughout the recent months, especially of the last fireside chat that was Scott and Nikki's farewell fireside chat, where we all nearly fell off the log. Let's just check the trees in case he's being sneaky. hope we've got this right. Now the difference is, unlike finding an animal out here, the Easter eggs don't really have much of a reflective glare to them. Oh, ouch. Oh. Well, no, they don't, but happen to be light in color and thus are relatively easy for us to spot. Okay, I've got 2. That's wonderful. I wasn't expecting to. I'm quite chuffed. Shall I go and get them and you can have a look at what they look like? Dave's going to hold the spotlight for me. Thank you, Dave. Oh. You can actually, I'm sure it's okay if you pop it down for now, Dave, if you need to operate camera. I'll just go in the dark quickly. Oh. Would you look at that? I think they're lovely. We've definitely got a zebra here. And we've got some, oh, blind myself there. We've got something white with yellow dots. So some more lovely wildlife themed eggs from our wonderful final control ladies. I just need to untangle myself from the current mess that I'm in terms of cables, because otherwise I'm going to have no idea what is happening in the outside world. And in fact, I could continue to have no idea what's happening in the outside world because I'm still stuck. Everybody, hold on. There we go. And a wildebeest calling in the background. Isn't that lovely? A zebra-themed one. Ladies in final control, what are we dealing with here? Is this some kind of maybe bird? Aha, I see. It is inspired and an artistic representation of a cheetah. Fair enough. That's entirely fair enough. I can see the inspiration, and of course, you do have total artistic license in that respect. I think it's lovely. I think it is lovely. And that very clearly being a zebra. Presumably, unless I've got that wrong, in which case, ladies in final control, I'm very sorry. Here we go. We've done very well, Dave. Although, admittedly, the 2 at the end were very kindly placed there. I'm quite chuffed with that. I've got my 3 eggs. There we go. Thank you, Dave. My 3 eggs. Oh, and there's an entire herd of impala that is currently on quarantine, so I'm going to turn off my spotlight for now so I don't blind them all. Not blind, it's not a permanent thing, but it does detract from their night vision. So we'll turn around and we'll give them some space. This has been great fun. And Dory, happy Easter to you as well. Dory's watching in South Carolina. And she said that she loved the Easter egg hunt and wishes us, everybody around the world, a happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too, Dory. I'm glad you liked the idea. It didn't quite entirely go as according to plan, just due to various issues outside of our control, but nevertheless, I had a wonderful time. There's also a moth down my shirt. Hold on, sorry. I just don't want it fluttering against the microphone. There we go, it's out now. I definitely really enjoyed myself. Some great clues coming through and some good guesses, and I'm glad that you all enjoyed being involved in our little bush version of Easter. Before we come to the end of our sunset safari, and it has been a lovely sunset safari, we'll double check around quarantine. I can smell the scent of dinner wafting through, which is terribly appealing right now. But I'm quite sad to see that the electricity is still no longer on. We've been without electricity for the last 24 hours about now. And of course, it being Easter Sunday, I don't think it was likely to be fixed. Although I had hoped, because when Dave and I drove onto the power lines earlier, there was this zinging sound of electricity flowing backwards and forwards. Or I don't know how exactly it worked, but definitely the sound waves or the shock waves traveled in both directions. And I had hoped that was signs of life or signs of electricity being returned to us, but nope. And I don't think any phone signal therefore either. But oh well, life in the bush. Be a beautiful, peaceful evening spent watching the Milky Way. And since the full moon is rising quite late at the moment, we should get a really spectacular view of our southern hemisphere skies. And as we come to the end, I wanted to just say a big thank you to you all for joining us. But mostly, I would like to say a big thank you to Dave for his fantastic camera work, for really keeping me company and enjoying the sightings with as much enthusiasm as he does. Our cameramen are such a pleasure to have on the back of the vehicles with us, and the amount that they put up with from us is sometimes truly extraordinary. So a big thank you to Dave and all our other cameramen, and a thank you to our ladies in Final Control for the wonderful work that they did with our Easter eggs and for helping us organize that whole thing. We had a great time, and we hope that you did too. Thank you, Jerry and Lou. And thank you to our tech team for getting Wendy back up and running with some actual signal. I'm so excited for the morning sunrise safari. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. And we will catch up with you for the sunrise safari tomorrow. Cheers.